is up, everybody? Amish Country Mets fan here, back with another Amish Hot Stove update. Technically, it's not really a Hot Stove update. I really just want to comment on this Will Salmon article, however you say his name. I guess that's how you say his last name, from The Athletic that everybody naturally is freaking out about. I don't know what the surprise is here. I've tried to convey this in my videos. Yeah, I did think possibly Jordan Montgomery would be a pivot to Yamamoto, but that only makes sense for the Mets if it's not a huge... You can't give Jordan Montgomery 6 or 7 years. 4 or 5, maybe, but he probably won't take that. So when you really think about it, I guess Jordan Montgomery really isn't that, in my opinion, a fallback option unless he is willing to cut down on the years and maybe the money a little bit. It just doesn't make sense to give a guy that's not really a true ace money. Blake Snell, I've said it time and time again, he's not worth it, in my opinion. You have differing opinions, that's fine. I just don't think he's the guy. I think you're giving ace money to a guy that's had 2 ace seasons, 2 great ace seasons. He's been a Cy Young both times. Outside of that, look up the numbers. He's not durable. He walks too many guys. His ERA is usually in the 3 or 4s. Like, is that the kind of guy you want to give 6, 7 years over $200 million to? In my opinion, no. But if that's what you expected the Mets to do, then I don't know what to tell you. Not only that, but he comes with the qualifying offer, so you'd also be giving up picks and international draft money. To me, that's a bad idea. That's bad business. For the Mets to build a sustainable, consistent winner, they have to start spending smart. Cohen kind of came in and he had to throw money at the problem. For those of you that want to compare Cohen to the Wilpons, to me, I'm sorry, these videos aren't for you. You can't be talked off the ledge. It's just no comparison. Like, the mess that Steve Cohen inherited is the reason we're in this position. He had to throw money at the problem, or he had to tear it all down and build from scratch. Obviously, from the way fans react to just the idea that next season might not be a season that we go all in on, he couldn't do that. He had to come in and try to fix the problems with this team with money. Didn't work last season. Well, the first season with Buck, we won 100 games, so you could argue it worked out that season. Last season, everything went wrong. Didn't work out. What did he do? He pivoted and basically bought a farm system. What owner in their right mind does this? And people are killing him for it. So, no, I can't blame him for being like, all right, you know what? If Yamamoto isn't the guy, then we need to be smart about where we spend our money. And we need to look ahead, not only for 2024, but for 2025 and beyond. Does that mean we're punting? I mean, I don't know what your definition of punt is. I don't think we're punting. You want to call it taking a step back, whatever you want to call it. It's not. I think you can still build a team that can make the playoffs without spending a ton of money this offseason. If Yamamoto doesn't work out, because let's face it, that is plan A. Plan A is sign Yamamoto and go from there. He's doing all he can to sign Yamamoto. If you're comparing him to the Wilpons, like, that's exhibit A right there. Like, Fred Wilpon would never be in this conversation. So, yeah, first plan is sign Yamamoto. If it doesn't work out, then I can't blame him for not wanting to throw money at Snell or at Montgomery. That's not to say they won't talk to Imanaga about a Senga-type contract. To me, that's not huge money. To me, that's a sensible deal. I don't know where the article was kind of vague in terms of, yeah, it did say they probably wouldn't pivot to those top 2 guys, but that doesn't mean we're not signing anyone. So it just doesn't make sense to freak out over this when it's kind of been written. Like, we've talked about this in my videos over and over again. Like, what are we... Just listen to what Stearns and Cohen himself has said. Like, yeah, they want to compete next year, but they also want to be smart where they spend their money. They want to spend on free agency when the time is right. Yamamoto is that right time. But guys like Snell and Montgomery, I'm sorry, they're not. If you think they are, then more power to you. I don't see that. I think it's wise to not throw all your eggs, take them from Yamamoto's basket and just toss them to those guys. Like, that's not, to me, that's not smart business. But again, that doesn't mean we're not going to try to sign other guys and be still somewhat competitive. It's just, it's not the big name guys that to me don't warrant it. Like, they just don't. As far as offense is concerned, they're probably still going to be in on the Justin Turners and the JD Martinez's, these guys that are 1 or 2 year deals. Like, that's smart moves. Maybe Soler, if you can get him for a 2 year deal. Teoscar's probably going to want more than they're willing to go. 3 or 4 years. I mean, I'd give him a 3 year deal. Again, Anthony, we were on the Interstate Mets report with Anthony from Subway to Shea. He laid it out pretty well. Like, even in Montgomery's case, like, he's a guy that both of us wouldn't have if he was a fallback, but you don't want him for that 6 or 7 years. You want to be careful with pitchers, and especially 30-year-old pitchers, and hopefully keep it to 3, 4, 5 years. So I think CP was in line with that thinking too. So, like, but the same can be said with some of these bats. Like, you give Teoscar Hernandez a Starling Marte contract, are you then putting yourself in position where you end up with a Starling Marte situation where now you're like begging somebody to take this guy? So it's things to consider. But I still, like, you're going to see, I think, if we miss on Yamamoto, because it's not a guarantee that we will, you're probably going to see them try to stick to 1, 2, 3 year deals and be smart with their money, and I can't blame them. And I still think they can build a winner this way. There's, like I said, there's still the trade market. There's just different ways to build this team. Freaking out over one article, I mean, more power to you if that's what you want to do. And let's be, again, I've said this before, let's be consistent, because we do this all the time. When an article fits your narrative, you're like, oh yeah, look at this. Cohen's cheap, Cohen this, Cohen that. But when it doesn't, you go, oh, that guy can't be trusted. Like, I'm not saying Will Salmon's been a great writer. He's probably one of the top guys to listen to, especially connected with the Mets. But that doesn't mean he's always right. That doesn't mean any of these guys are always right. We're all guessing with them. Yeah, they have sources and whatnot, but sometimes teams like to send misdirection out there too. Like, it happens. So there's no guarantee that this article's legit. But if it is, then cool. Like, I don't see the problem with anything that was said. Like, Blake Snell is not the guy to throw money to. Yeah, would I have liked to go to Montgomery as a fallback plan? Sure. But if he's asking for too much, he's asking for Rodon money, nah, man. Like, I'll pass on that. You do have to build a rotation, but you got to be smart about what you're doing. And to me, with those two in particular, it's just not wise to give those kind of contracts. Like I said, Imanaga's still out there. There's other pitchers still out there. You can still build a rotation. It'll be all right. But, you know, people are going to freak out. It's whatever. I'm just trying to put my point of view out there. Because I know sometimes the even keel, like, wait and see approach, that gets drowned out, and I don't feel like we should get drowned out. Those of us that are in that riding in that bus, so to speak, as I've heard used as a term used this offseason with the negative fans. Those of you riding with the positivity and waiting to see what happens, like, we need a voice too, and we don't have to get drowned out. The negative people can be loud and yell all they want, but that's not the only side of Mets fans. We're not all Frank the Tank. Some of us just try to think a little more logically and not reactionary every time. And like I said before, like, that doesn't mean it's all sunshine and rainbows and we're gonna look at this in a month and go, everything's great, fine, dandy, we didn't sign anyone. Like, no, if we completely hold back and we don't even improve, like, at certain positions, that's pitching. We got to improve the pitching somehow. But if we go out and sign, I don't know, just to the bottom of the barrel pitchers to fill out their rotation and bottom of the barrel bats to fill and do absolutely nothing else, then yeah, I can get behind the, like, okay, this isn't even competitive. This is just, we are punting. But we're not there yet, like I've said time and time again. Will we get there? I don't think so. I think we're gonna sign formidable players. And again, that's if we don't sign if we sign Yamamoto, this is a totally different conversation. Like, some tells me we're still not gonna go crazy on the spending for everybody else, but the plan's gonna be different because now you have a, like, very solid top of the rotation. So let's chill out. Let's not freak out. Christmas is coming up. Hopefully you enjoy the holidays. Hopefully you're enjoying your weekend. I just wanted to do this video just because I've seen it didn't even take long. I did a quick scroll and I'm like, oh my goodness, here we go. So I just want to put the alternate spin on it. Who knows who's right or wrong, but it's all gonna be all right. I don't know, maybe I'm delusional, but I hope I'm not. Anyways, have a great day, everybody. Let's go Mets.
Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned for the latest video.